3, 2, 1, go. Cool. So basically this morning we're just going over some UV and stuff because you guys are still doing the 3D project. So does anyone kind of remember the UV and how to do UVs and whatnot? Everyone kind of there? Yeah, cool, think so, sweet. We'll go over it a little bit anyway. We're going over the basic stuff today, so just what's called hard surface, then we'll look at organic tools next week. It's just looks like a 20-minute recap, and then you lot can work on the projects you need to, or we can discuss whatever else. So, because we're in Maya, obviously, there's a couple of things we can look at. I usually have my work set up like this, so I have my UV in here, I have my menu here. I don't know why the UV toolkit's so big, never mind. And then I have my 3D modeling space there. You can actually change that as well, so if you ever need to, just press space and it'll let you change it. We'll let you do it on this one, which is absolutely fine. But we've got this, right? So say, for example, we had, I don't know, something like this cube. If it'll let me drop one in. Notice how it's already pre-UV'd, right? The problem is, if we, extend the shape a little bit, or, I don't know, grab this face, extrude it out. Notice how this hasn't changed at all. Like the UVs on this side have not changed at all. So what we need to do is we need to basically relearn how to, do this sort of stuff from the beginning. So I'm just going to delete the UVs on this side. Notice how it doesn't get rid of the model itself. So all we'll do, we'll make something super simple and stupid. Oh, it's doing the thing again, where it won't let me delete things. Edit, delete, history, delete. Why won't you let me delete this one thing? I hate when this happens, because it's always for different bloody reasons.
I think to fix that, you need to delete it as an object.
I'm trying to. Is it just the face itself? Yeah. The thing is, most of the time it works absolutely fine, but some of the times it doesn't. So we'll take, I don't know, let's make something stupid. Let's make a sword. So I'm just gonna, the only reason I'm doing this is because I did it yesterday with some of the students. So we're going to, first of all, put in a multi-core around here. I'm gonna grab these faces. Again, now I'm not being super neat, but I'm just going to show you what I do. Let me zoom in. By the way, if you press, I think it's F to focus, you can do that. Again, you spend more time modeling than I do. I'm just showing you this as a very quick tutorial. So, I'm going to pull this out. And then we're going to grab this edge here and here. Here and here, use scale, push them out, grab this edge, here and here, like that, grab this, 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 and this, this and this, this and this, scale them down. Don't know why I've made a Guts the Berserk sword, but there we go. Oop. Vertex, vertex. Why you do this to me? There we go, that's a lot better. Just make sure these are all connected. have to be 100% correct, but there we go. That's because I'm a neatness freak. There we go. So we've got this. This is our wonky Kingdom Hearts sword blade, right? What a unique shape. Is that an insult, Max? You give me beef, bruv. You telling me this is not the best sword you've ever seen? How dare you? There we go. That's better. Right. We've got our sword. Now, that will say a problem straight away. It's flat on both sides, which is what we want. So, notice how this is completely different to this. No hill. Yeah, I'm just going to show you how to do the blade, because then we can do the hill later. So, for this, if we wanted to take it as, you know, some sort of flat object, you know, you could do a cylinder unwrap for the whole thing, really, I guess. So if we grab all that, we create a cylinder unwrap. So how to do cylinder unwrap? Go create, go cylindrical. See how it comes out. Oh no. Oh no. So unfold it. Oh no. It done broke. Clearly that's not gonna work. So what we do with this is we separate into three parts. We've got the top, the bottom, and the butt. Okay? Planer. Looks a bit crap. Clearly because I was looking at the wrong angle, so planer again. Click the button next to planer, best plane, apply, unfold. We have a blade. If you want to arrange it so it's actually, you know, straight, you can orient shells. Hold J, spin it round. There we go. Do the same on the bottom. Grab all this. Create. Planer. Unfold. Orient shells. We can tell if they've worked because the square should be the same on both sides. Then we've got the flat bit. Now the flat bit we wouldn't really have. We would just delete this because it wouldn't be part of our model. So, but because I'm thorough, we will go around. By the way, in order to get the wheel to pop up, so you can just click on one, hold tab on your keyboard, and then click and drag over anything you want, and then just create a planer again on that. Unfold. Remember to unfold everything. If for some reason your unfold doesn't work, I'm just going to turn that off. If for some reason your unfold doesn't work, if you hold shift on unfold, it'll pop up with this menu. There's two methods, okay? Method one is unfold 3D, one is legacy. If one doesn't work, swap to the other one and see if that works. And most of the issues will be fixed with that. Okay? So we've got these. Notice how the bottom is just as big as the blade. It's not going to work. If you go into your UV toolkit, you go to transform. We are going to use the magic button, wherever it is, here. Textile density. So grab your UV shell, click on get, grab everything, click on set. Now everything's the correct size. The only problem is it's massive. It's a chonking boy. So we're going to shrink that down until it fits. Or if you don't want to shrink it down until it fits, you just go to layout and it'll try and lay it out. The only problem is it will lay it out so it's covering maybe 2 UV spaces. You don't want that. So what you do is when you click layout, just shrink it down ever so slightly and then grab things and make sure they're not touching. There we go. So now we've got that. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the hill. So we're going to try and make this out of a cylinder. I'm going to shrink it in a little bit. Maybe make it just one of them. Get it up to the butt like that. Then I'm going to put in a multi-cut around here. Grab the faces. Turn off multi-cut. It's very important. extrude. You can extrude stuff out really quickly just by holding shift. There we go. Then what we do is we grab, in your model toolkit, just grab this, and there should be the option to attach them together. Combine. There we go. Why will you not combine? There we go. For some reason it didn't want to work the other way around. That's stupid. Anyway, we've now got this, right? Which is fine. And most of our stuff has already been laid out. Which is cool. But because we're genius 500 IQ level students, you didn't have the whole hill slotted. Ah, that's fair. I thought I did. Never mind. It's too early in the morning. So what we're going to do, I'm going to grab these faces. Now, because this is a cylinder, we're going to use cylindrical. Oh no, it's rotated the wrong way. If you find that your cylindrical unwrapping tool is located the wrong way, why has Windows popped up? Right, you can actually edit it. So if you go to the attribute editor here and you click on rotate, you just start going through these. So 90, nope, it's not the wrong one. Do this one. Nope, must be the first one. There we go. Move the green so it covers everything. Move the red so it covers everything. And there we go. Perfect. Now for the bottom, this looks like it's already been pre-calced. It's like they've already done it. So I'm gonna grab the face, go like that, create planar, go to my UV toolkit, go to unfold, click that. I'm gonna grab the textile density for this, set that to it. Now what we can do is we can actually find the edge. So we want to find whichever edge is the top, basically. So I'm going to go for this one, right? What I can do, if I grab this UV shell, I'm just going to move it over here, right? So which edge are you? You're there. Let's go for that one, right? If you go to, I think it's a line and snap. It's not. So yeah, stitch together. Boom. It's going to move it. It's going to rotate it and move it. So now that face will connect to that. Okay? So now I've got one object, so now I can kind of guess where everything is. It just makes it a little bit easier, so you can have at least one point that transitions over, rather than having them both separate. It's a personal preference. You can choose to do this or not. It's not a massive issue, but I'm just going to grab the textile density for that one, just so I don't have to redo it. Get, set, Badoo. Now, sometimes you may want to make this a little bit bigger, which is absolutely fine. You want to try and make sure that your UVs are kind of even across the whole thing. But if there's certain areas like this where you're thinking, oh man, I really want to make sure that I'm getting more detail on this, you absolutely can do that. It's absolutely fine. So, this is our next bit. So we've got this bit, which is absolutely fine. Now what we can do is this. So tackling this is going to be easy once it lets me. It's got everything. It's basically two planars and a cylindrical, which is fine. If you tried unwrapping the whole thing as a cylindrical, it would cry. So for now, just start doing this. Just start planaring, yeet it into existence. Create cylindrical. Rotate it. Move the blue and the red and the green. Doesn't really matter. Move that out of there, and then grab this, create a planar. We've got them, we need to unfold them, so grab everything, UV toolkit, unfold, Then we need to orient shells. Which way is the top? That's the bottom, so I'm guessing that's that one, that one. You also need to check as well whether your things are the right way or not. So it's this button here. So if anything shows up as red, it means it's flipped the wrong way. So for example, say I don't know, just gonna flip this, right? Where are you? Right. Say you end up with some UVs that are like this. What this means is, say how I'm moving from left, I'm moving up, which is left to right, and it's moving right to left on the other side. That means it's the wrong way. If you grab it, hold your right click, go to modify, and then go to flip, it'll flip that UV. How do you get that view? It's this button here. Second one along on the UV toolkit is this one. Not UV toolkit, UV editor. And then you've got this, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rotate this round again. Hold J to rotate and snap. So I think that's now the top. Yes, that's the right way. Grab that. Orient shell. It's about as good as we're going to get it. J, orient shell. This, make sure it's unfolded. Grab the textile density for that. Set it for them. Just grab everything. Go to layout. Now it's going to give you loads of room, right? Whoop, did not mean to do that. It's going to give you loads of room on here, right? Because the model's most of the thing. So this is where you would start picking up stuff. So I'm going to move all the smaller objects because they're a little bit wing wong. Grab UV shell instead. Move them over here for now. So with the blades itself, I could do so much with these. So I'm just going to rotate that round. No. What has happened here? Don't know what happened there. Right, J, spin it round. Grab these two. And I'm just going to rotate them this way a little bit. Again, this is, you don't have to do it this way. I just prefer doing it this way because it's easier for me. So now a lot more of your room's being taken up by these. So now I can get the text density of them. Don't move it. Set for them. Now I can start going in and just making sure these are set. So the blade itself, I'm not really that bothered about. Morning class rep. Maya being weird. Maya is being weird, right? So if, for example, say this was a first person or a third person game, right? The blade's going to be the furthest part away from you because your character is probably going to see the blade from sort of like this angle. So this part here is probably going to be more noticeable. So what I might do is, as long as this object here has the same textile density as the rest of that object and not the blade's separate, it's not really that big of an issue. Okay, it's a little bit more of an advanced technique, but I'm just going to do it this way, just so when I move this up here, grab everything again, because that's way too big. Shrink it down just a little bit. That's better. So I've got that up there. No, I said don't have that anymore. So now you can just start dicking about with different sizes of things. So I'm just going to grab them again, and that. Scale things up. This I want to move to about here. This I can then move to here. It's all about experimenting. It's all about making sure that you know what you're doing and just making sure you've got loads of room in there. So that can go over there, and that can go like that. Obviously, when you're using stuff like Marmoset, or if you're using stuff like Substance Painter, which we'll be going through, your UV layout isn't 100% necessary because it's got a position map, like a world location map. But if you're doing traditional stuff in Photoshop, obviously lay it out so you know where everything is. You want to kind of make sure that you're using as much of your texture map up as you can, otherwise you're wasting it, right? I'm just going to show you now, right? That's used, I'd probably say about 70% of the texture map. Whereas if we just click layout, it's going to just squash it all together. Now, it might be good if you've got lots of things, but you want to give it the space in between. This is called padding. Stuff between is called padding, right? You need that because you'll get a thing called texture bleed if you don't. You don't need a whole lot of it, but you know, this is way too much, but you don't want two UVs to touch, because otherwise what happens is when you get further away from the modeling game, the textures start blending over each other. So the last one really to talk about for the time being is cylindrical, which is basically this. So this is the pre-unwrapped thing you find in Maya, right? We just go to create a cylindrical unwrap. It's going to do one of these, and it's going to be not that good. So it's basically the same sort of controls as not cylindrical, spherical. I'm a doofus. It's going to try and work out all the shapes. So green, like that. So it's going to try and unwrap the sphere that way, which is fine. Then if we go to unfold, it's going to create one of these. Obviously not the best. Okay? So what you might want to do for stuff like this is entirely up to you, but spheres are a little bit more of a pain in the ass to unfold. Is, see how it's, see the white lines? The white lines are how it's basically meant to be unfolded. So like this, right? Now the UV and the UV spacing for it isn't the best, but at least it's even for the most part. So get rid of that. What you can do is you could either split this into two halves and try unfolding it that way, so split it into two semicircles, or you could try taking the top off and then taking the bottom off and then unfolding it like a cylinder. Spheres are a little bit harder because obviously they are a continuous shape, there's no hard ends to them. So that's that. Anyone got any questions about that? Anyone forget anything, or anyone like, oh, can you show me how to do this super quick in UVing? Because I'm going to be going over more organic UVing next week. UV faces terrify me. UV human faces are disgusting. You are correct. They are the stuff of nightmares. There is a guide on Classroom, I believe, for this as well. I'll stick it on there because James has done one. It must be a pain to get right. They are a little bit easier now because we can actually paint directly on the models, so it's not too bad. And what you would also do is you'd have your sculpting tool, so whether that be mud box or ZBrush or whatever, you'd use that to do all your high-end detail, and you'd bake all that detail down, so it wouldn't really be that bad. Okay, can you run by the pixel density thing he was doing? Yeah, cool. So pixel density, or texels, is texture pixels, right? So it's how much of your texture is going to be on the texture sheet, right? So you can basically ignore this for time being. It doesn't really matter if it's the correct size or not, because it'll always default to 512 texture size, right? So what happens is if we just yeet this sphere out of existence and go back with this, right? What it means is for every, you know, how many pixels are going to be, you know, how many per part of this, how many of them are going to be pixelated on the screen, right? So what we can do, what it basically means is it shows you the density of the material. So per inch or whatever of this model, how many texture pixels do we want, right? So what we could do, say if I just, I don't know, oh no, I've slipped, oh no, my model's ruined, right? If you have a look at the texel density of this thing, 281 because it's so big. There's 281 pixels for it, right? Whereas this lonely thing over here is 104, or this one here is 56. So what you can do is you can grab that, get that information, go to UV shell mode or double click on an area, right? And then click set, and what I'll do is it'll automatically change whatever you had, it'll change it to what it needs to be, change it to the one you had. That means that everything on there is going to be uniform. So both sides of that blade now are even, right? So the squares are perfectly even across the whole thing. They might not line up properly, but they're even. Same with the handle, right? So if I grab this handle bit down here and make it massive, look, notice how the squares get really tiny and small? It means you're going to get more detail on them, but it also means that it's going to look really off compared to that. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Anyone else got anything they want to talk about? Okay, so when it comes to UVing, it'll just look right. Yeah, so all you want to do is, when you've unwrapped everything, I'd say unwrap everything first, doesn't matter about the size, unwrap everything first, get it all unfolded, and then what you do is you basically grab one UV shell, which is one of these, grab one of them, like this, click on get, grab everything, click on set, and then everything will be the same. And then all you have to do then is scale everything down or up at the same time, or you can just use the layout tool and it'll do it. But I said layout, you have to do some finicking around if you haven't got that many objects. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward, I think. How do you join two objects into one, like the hilt and the blade? What, in UV space? You can do that pretty easily. So we'll take, like this, because it's not attached to the model, it's not going to work, right? You'd have to attach them together as an actual model to do that. So if you're on about stuff like, not that one, face. So if you mean something like this to this, I can do that, because see how that's one model? I all modeled it out of one thing. The blade was modeled separate. So I can match these together, I could attach these together, but you couldn't attach these two together unless they were modeled together, unless they're the same actual physical model, right? So what I can do is, say I want to grab, I don't know, this hilt, and I want to grab it and attach it to this, right? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to first of all spin this round, so like that. Then I'm going to grab this one, move it over here. So the problem we've got is the inside of this model here is there, right? So if I grab, I don't know, go to this edge here, notice how when I move along this top edge here, the inside of the model moves. That's because if the line shows up as, so the red line here shows up as the red line here, because that's where they're connected, right? And you can do it on the model as well. So if you go onto this view and just move around the model, you'll see it shows in the UV view as well. So you might not be able to attach them two together, because otherwise you're moving this into there and it's going to mess it up. However, what we can do instead is maybe attach it to this, right? So if I go to UV shell, orient the shells, spin it around the other way, like that, grab this, orient the shells, wrong way, like that. Now find a place where it's appropriate, so let's have a look on the edge. We'll go with that one, right? So they're opposites, right? There's a very simple button to do it. If you go to cut and sew, click on stitch together, A to B, it'll move the shell around, or you can do B to A. And what it does is it flips it round so it fits it, right? So now we have that edge there, which connects this shell, well, this face here, which is that one, and this face here, which is that one. So they're now connected. You can do the same with this as well. So you could attach this one as well. So I'm going to go with the same side, because why not? So let's grab that. Stitch A to B. Doesn't have the A to B. So I'm going to grab the edge instead. A to B, There you go. Now it looks like some sort of weird set of lungs. And once you've done this as well, you might want it unfolded again, because it might have changed stuff. So now, can I get it on? Oh, it's on there, it's fine. Right? Does that make sense? If I wanted to, for whatever reason, attach these two together, right, into one mesh, what I'd have to do is I'd have to go into the model itself. So go into object mode. First of all, I'd have to go in and cut around this, or just get rid of all these faces, which you can do. Then we're going to get rid of them faces, right? So now what I've got is I've got a clean edge, which you should be able to see if I move that back. So clean edge. What we do is we're going to go like that. You can extrude it out, which is perfectly fine if you hold shift. No, shift. There we go. Right. And then object mode. We can just start attaching stuff together. So I'm going to grab this edge here, this vertex here rather. Go to your modeling toolkit, target weld that to there. Maybe that one to there. I need to add more detail in there, but that's fine. Add that one to there. Add that one to there. Obviously, you do it a little bit better than what I'm doing, because otherwise it's going to not be so good. That to there, that to there. Plan your models out more than this. This was literally just me attempting to do this on the fly. What I can do then is, if I'm really stuck, I can just go multi-cut, grab from there. Whoop. From there to there, edge, vertex, don't multi-cut anymore, target weld. Obviously that's not very clean model, it's not lined up yet. I didn't plan it out, I literally just threw stuff together, which is why I always suggest that you guys plan your models out, right? But again, I'm showing this as a demo purpose, so you don't have to. Okay, so that's if you wanted to attach the model together. Obviously for the blade and that you don't have to, it's absolutely fine. But does that make sense for everyone? And then obviously if you do edit anything, your UVs are going to get really messed up. Thank for no end guns. Yeah, exactly. We don't want end guns. So, does that make sense? Sweet, I'm going to stop the recording.